Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Sensei Pink and I'm coming back to you guys for my review on Lore Olympus episode 129 and episode 130. Now as always guys, go follow me on both Instagram and Twitter and hit that subscribe and notification button to see more weekly videos. Now guys, before we get into everything, I just honestly sort of want to apologize to you guys because I really haven't been active much on Instagram. I logged out of that account on my phone and just haven't been in it since. So just haven't been active on there. I really haven't been engaging with you guys in the comments, and yeah, just I'll say for a lack of engagement on my part. I've just honestly been I'll say challenged by life at the moment, and I just haven't had the capacity to just focus on it and just put myself there. I just honestly recently I've just been focusing on myself, and just being okay, and I just think that was important to tell you guys. I also want to thank you, Anise. I don't know, haven't been on Instagram. I know you've been messaging me before, so you probably are what is going on. Just want to let you know I'm okay. Thank you for checking on me. Another thing that I want to address is some of the fan art that I've received these last few weeks. I haven't really gotten to put them in any videos or anything like that, so I hope that next week I can squeeze them in and give you guys the appreciation you deserve. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into these reviews. So picking up from last week with Persephone finally opening her eyes, we are then brought into a sort of flashback of her side of things, ever since she's gone missing. So basically, the last episode that we see Percy after Apollo blackmails her, Percy goes home, loses it, and just basically tells herself she needs to come up with a plan, and she just needs to take some time to herself. After leaving home and leaving the note for Artemis, obviously she goes to the underworld. As we know, she sells off the comb, and she ends up booking a hotel room, a little motel room, and while she's there, she feels she's just gonna relax for the night and start her planning for the next day. Now, as Percy is looking through the newspaper at some potential apartments so that she can distance herself away from Apollo, and she's just trying to connect to the poor Wi-Fi that's in the hotel, she's interrupted when she sees the news, and she sees that both her and her mother are basically wanted criminals. Now, sort of losing control of her powers and beginning the overgrowth thing, the hotel manager obviously knows that that's Percy, and he comes to the door and he's banging, and after she struggles to escape out the window, she then ends up in the junkyard, and she's extremely cold. She was in the hotel room, she had a whole blanket on because obviously we know the underworld is cold, and she makes a little home, I guess, in the car in which Hades finds her. Now, throughout the whole scene when Hades is pleading for her to just come to, she hears all his pleas and she ends up coming to, and we're sort of caught up to the present with her opening her eyes. Now, after she takes some deep breaths and they get her situated in one of Hades' rooms, Hades then just pays off the cleaning people, telling them to just never mention what they saw today, and heads into the kitchen to sort of meet with Hecate. Now, telling Hecate she can feel free to lie to Zeus if she wants, just so that Hecate doesn't get in trouble. Hecate, being the bad bitch that she is, she tells Hades she was never scared of Zeus, and that Zeus can kiss her blue ass. Now, right before Hecate heads out, Hades then begins to ask Hecate if she knew about, I'll say, the whole bringer of death situation, and Hecate just sort of tells him she might have had an idea, and she just ends up leaving. And afterwards we then end this episode with Hades walking into Percy's room with some tea ready for her to drink, and her sort of awaken looking at him enter the room. Now guys, I honestly don't even know what to say except I'm glad we got Percy's side of the story, and I just hope Apollo dies. So, you know, moving on from that, let's get into episode 130. Now, from the last scene with Hades bringing in some tea for Percy, Percy then just tries to begin to apologize to Hades for everything and tries to begin to explain herself, but Hades tells her to just calm down, and he ends up giving her her comb back. After, you know, giving her comb back, Hades assures her like he's not furious with her, but you know, he's just curious as to what happened, but he's not interested in questioning her, you know, at the very moment. He's gonna let her have some time and just focus on resting. Now, after Percy ends up waking up from a little nap, she's surprised to see Eros there visiting her. You know, he comes with some regards from Artemis, but you know, Artemis is apparently a squeaky clean Olympian, so she just did not want to go see Percy and sort of get involved. But Eros ends up bringing her some like word jumbles, some breakfast, and you know, just some topics from his day to really help her feel better. Now, after Eros leaves, Percy heads into like Hades' study, and the two then begin to discuss, you know, how comfortable she is with her living arrangements, and you know, if Hades has like heard any word from her mother. And Hades tells her like, you know, he hasn't, but he's definitely going to keep her posted. In the meantime, you know, he gives her some clothes that Kate picked out for her and tells her to just, you know, go get ready, and when she's ready, you know, let's just come into the study. They'll begin talking about the situation. Now, after changing her clothes and looking like the future queen that she will be, the two of them sit down to discuss the situation. Now, right off the bat, Hades tells her like Zeus basically wants to make an example of her, and he shows her the findings that Zeus presented to him during their meeting. Now, reading through some of the findings, Percy just like states like that's all wrong. And just begins to ask Hades, you know, what she's going to do. Now, with that question in the air, we then end this episode with Hades telling her to just tell her truth. Now, first of all, Eros is an amazing friend, and I'm so glad that Percy has him. Second, Kate knew what she was doing dressing Percy like that. Like, we all know that Kate wants Percy to be queen, and so she decided she's gonna just start outfitting her like that, and I just love it. And finally, I am so ready for this talk to happen. I really wanted it to happen this week, but unfortunately it is going to happen next week. So since we're going to have to wait for this talk to happen next week, let me get into my predictions for episode 131. For my first prediction, I think that Persephone is going to tell Hades about the red-eyed Percy inside of her, and like, you know, after her like flower nymph friends died, like she just totally lost control, and like red-eyed Percy just came out and just like fucked shit up. For my second prediction, I think that Mint is just going to pop up to sort of like brag to Hades, but then she's gonna pop up and find Persephone there, and she's probably going to end up reporting it or something. For my last prediction, I think that Artemis is going to tell her trifling ass brother, you know, that Percy is safe and with Hades, and that's when like he's going to tell Zeus, and Zeus just might pop out of nowhere inside of Hades' home, and this whole mess is just gonna start. Well, that's it for today, guys. Let me know, what are your thoughts for next week? Let me know in the comments below. Go follow me on both Instagram and Twitter, and smash that like button if you enjoyed watching. Finally, guys, hit that subscribe and notification button to see more of me, Sensei Pink.